think you were still joining, but I'm going to leave my video off. It tends to freeze if I have it on. So I'll just be joining with my voice. Oops. Gary Davis may not be able to make it tonight. He wasn't sure. He's going to try, but he wasn't sure if it would work out. So he may not be coming.
I may have to drop in about half an hour, 45 minutes, all depending if Melanie can make it home or not, but I'll be here for the first part of this.
We shouldn't have too much tonight, I don't think. We have one referral.
Right. I told Kimberly I came home without any of my stuff. I don't have my notes. I don't have my work computer. So I'm doing this from my home computer and I don't have any of my files, but I have the project for your referral, the information pulled up from the town's website, so I can share it that way. But one thing I wanted to ask you, and I don't have my old notes, so I can't look at it. And I know earlier in the year, you guys spent a little bit of time talking about what you wanted to do next year, what you wanted to focus on. I think it was when you guys were talking about budget requests. And I was going to see if you wanted to refer back to that. But I don't remember what it was, and I don't have my notes, so I can't even see what you guys talked about. I don't know if you remember.
Well, and Bob, you can interfere if you remember differently, but I think that we agree that the most important thing we can do is try to give a good resolution for either zoning or transfer of development rights or something in that sense to stop losing land. And that's probably the most productive thing that we could do.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say too. I think we decided to focus on whether it be the overlay district or whatever we find to be the right path to move forward on.
Okay. So either after you guys do your referral tonight, or maybe at your January meeting, you guys can help me come up with kind of a schedule for the year based on those ideas, which might leave you some room for other stuff too. I do remember I was looking at the notes from the last meeting about talking about how the overlay could be constructed to work with the ideas of the TDR and stuff like that.
And I've tried to gather, I think last time I told you I knew someone in the real estate business that had some experience with ag land in some areas that have done stuff like that. And I've gotten some more contacts from him, from some other municipalities to talk to. So I've started to gather some information, but it doesn't sound like many places have figured out any real fix to that situation.
Yeah.
Well, okay, there's Gary Jones.
There's a phone number. Does anyone know? 585-406-7104. Whoever's phone number that is, can you tell us who you are? If you can hear me.
That's Linda Purdy.
Is it? Okay. Thank you.
I haven't heard anything from Tim, so I don't know.
Hi, Gary.
Let's see. I don't know. We're not going to have enough of us, are we?
You officially have 3. Oh, and here's Ray.
Okay,
Let me check with Tim as well.
then we're okay then.
Hi, Ray.
Well, I say we can go ahead and get started, I think. If Tim comes, then Fernando, you haven't heard anything from Tim, have you?
I'll let you, I just texted him, so I'll let you know if I hear anything back.
All right, well, welcome everyone. Hopefully everyone's doing okay. And Sarah, are we back to Zoom because that's what the town is doing for all meetings now, or I couldn't remember why we were doing it.
Unofficially, we're kind of encouraging Zoom. There's not an official word from the board, but we've switched a few of our meetings to Zoom this week.
That's fine. It's easier for me. I was just wondering.
Okay. I
He said
mean,
he's having trouble logging in, so I'll send him again the login.
okay. Did I think I put it in the email yesterday.
Yeah.
It doesn't let me forward this. I don't know why.
It's on the website if he wants to do that. While Tim is joining, I had a question. I sent you guys back the draft ag committee code language and then the memo that we talked about. And the ordinance committee did meet this past Wednesday, but they already had a few things on their agenda, so they didn't talk about that. So I think it's going to be January. And I did talk to Gary Davis today to ask him again about that. And he thinks that should work fine. So that in its form right now is what I'll give them to look at. Did anybody have any comment? I think I sent it either yesterday or today.
And we don't need to vote on that or anything again.
No, because you already did, but I just wanted you guys to see the memo that I drafted, that little one pager that kind of summarizes why you guys wanted to see the changes.
Yep.
And if that,
Yeah, I thought it looked good.
okay, and if that sounds fine, I'll just send that on to Gary and Shauna and ask them to put it on their agenda for January.
Looks like Ray's muted.
She said
Yes.
the password security is not working. I don't even get asked for those things.
I've
You
just
have-
started getting asked for that recently, only on these meetings. I don't know why.
Well, so we, on both of our Zoom accounts, we have a requirement that you have your own personal Zoom account in order to join our Zooms. So if you've been logged out of your Zoom account on your computer for some reason, it will make you log back in. Some of our meetings, like the town board meeting, you actually have to register ahead of time to get the link, but this one's just set up that you have to have, you have to be a Zoom user. So I don't know, maybe he's got a problem with his account or something.
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Yes.
Yep.
I told him to try logging in his account first.
yeah, I'm not allowed to turn off that security feature. We've had enough Zoom attacks that we are not
Zoom
willing
out.
to loosen anything on that one.
He just sent me the picture of a message he said, and he said, this meeting is for authorized attendees only.
Yeah. He's not out of the country, is he?
I thought
he's-
we had a
he's there.
message from Tim.
He's here.
There he is.
Okay, there you go.
There he is.
That's why I was late getting on last month. I had trouble with that, and I I had to reload Zoom onto my computer. I don't know what was going on.
It could also be if your Zoom is out of date, it might require you to update it. I don't know.
Okay. Anyway, we're all here now.
Hey, Tim is muted.
Yep.
How's that?
Good.
Good.
Was good.
Great. So how is everybody?
Meeting get set up.
It's been a while since I've seen you all.
I'm here, but I have to turn my video off. My internet isn't happy with me when I try and do the sound and the video. So I'm just gonna leave it off, but
Oh. Okay.
All right, so guess we should, especially if Fernando might have to get going, get right to the referral, even though we've seen it plenty of times.
yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and share the screen. I did pull up the files so I can show you what specifically they're coming to planning board for. I told a couple of you, but I ran off today and left all my stuff at work. So I did create the comment sheet like I usually do for you guys that lists the project and the soils and everything. And then that's the one that I record what you say and send back to the planning board. I can't access it from home because it's on my computer at work. So I do have one. I'm going to take notes and I'll fill it out, but I can't bring that up. The good thing is there's nothing on there you haven't already seen. It's the one that tells you all types and all that. It's not different because it's the same parcels as before. So really, I'm sure the only thing you're really interested in is what they're doing now. So they're coming back to the planning board next week for final approval on section 1 of the overall development. They're not going to build it all at once. So they will probably come back in the future for section 2 and section 3. But they're going to start with section 1, and that's what they're seeking approval for on next Tuesday. And that's this here. And just to remind you guys, this is the one across from Miller Park. This is 21. North is in this direction, and this is Bristol Road.
Oh, okay.
Anyone want kind of a rehash of the overall project? I've got their letter that kind of gives a summary of the overall project. If you want, I can bring that up.
Yeah, just one more question. I remember before they had expanded it. Is this part of that, or is this is just the parcel that's there now, or is this a future part?
This is the expansion. So this is Paris Street Extension. You remember at first it didn't go all the way to Paris Street Extension, but they purchased part of Sid Wilkins' property.
Oh, they did, but okay. That's what I didn't think that they had bought it.
I don't think it's closed yet, but they are purchasing this from Sid Wilkin. And then, this is the other parcel. So it is expanded all the way down to Paris Street Extension.
But the lower part below section 3, they don't own any of that then.
Yes, they will. Right.
Okay.
I think these sections here
Just
are.
blanked out there. Would you say that again? Do they own that whole plot there? Is that correct?
Yeah, I don't think it's officially closed, but they will own all of this. All of this inside the dark black line.
Which is, if you just look at it where it is now, it's just all the field.
Yeah, this will not have construction on it. This section here, there's a wetland here already.
Oh,
That just stays the way it is. They want to put a trail around it. So the houses will be along this little curvy road, coming in on Bristol Road and then curving around and going in and out on the other side on Paris Street. They will own all of it. And then this area is going to be a conservation easement. The town will hold the easement, but it'll be owned by the HOA, homeowners association.
So Sarah, do you know what the terms of the purchase of future section 3 are?
No,
I would guess that it may depend on, approval for section 1 and section 2.
I don't know what the timeline is on them purchasing the property. I just know that when I was bringing it up in Encore, it didn't show it as being theirs yet, but
Mhm.
Hmm.
And then if we continued around in a clockwise manner to, I guess that would be the southwest section. I assume that you said that they're not going to develop that because there's a swamp there?
what you're looking at is the full plan here. This is the full plan. Tonight, you're only supposed to be considering this, but this rest of it is the full plan. There was no other construction besides what's shown on the map.
They're on section 1, the black piece right on Route 21 in front of Miller Park. What is that supposed to be?
A parking lot for the trail.
Okay.
And it's going to be directly across the street from the parking lot at Miller Park. And it does show a little crosswalk. I don't know. They'll have to talk to the state about that. Hopefully the state will cooperate with us on that. But yeah, because the intent is to kind of make a trail extension to go from Miller Park all the way around here. Of course, one day we'd probably like to see sidewalks that would go down to connect across 5 and 20, but that's a long way off if that ever happens. But it will at least be a trail that can come through the fields around the wetlands. There's going to be, I think there's a sidewalk in the neighborhood that's planned.
Uh-huh.
So you could walk Miller Park, come over here and walk and go back.
Well, to the effects of,
This is definitely going to be a loss of farmland
Well,
Yeah,
yeah.
being currently farmed. So what else do you want us to go ahead and say about this?
Whatever you want to say. I mean, yes, I kind of assumed you guys would probably say the same things you said before, but they still want it officially anyway. And I think, and I'm sorry I can't bring it up, but you basically it does result in a loss of farmland. And
And with valuable.
I think there was more. I remember you guys, that kind of started that whole conversation about this kind of being opening the floodgates to that section of town. And
Yep, exactly.
Yep.
So my blood pressure is going up just looking at this. So can we vote?
does
Before
anyone
we
else have
begin-
any other questions or comments on the project?
No, it's still the way we talked about it before.
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, there's
It
not,
is.
I mean, nothing's gonna be done about it at this point, really, but
No.
we can still comment.
Yep.
So we definitely see it as a loss of farmland. We also see it as an entry into I guess the southern corridor along the Canandaigua Lake, the west side of Canandaigua Lake. And it's maybe not in my lifetime, but perhaps I would expect this is going to impact the farming community. And the farming community's ability to farm as they have in the town of Canandaigua since the inception of the town of Canandaigua. It's my recommendation that they stay on the other side of 5 and 20 for development instead of encroaching into farmland. Anybody else?
No, I would just, if we can add some comment along those lines, Sarah, just, I know it's not gonna make any difference at this point, but just some comment about, because that's getting really close to all the other, the land that's on the other side of Miller Park there, and it's just gonna
Right.
put a lot of pressure on the other farmland
Right.
close to it,
Yep.
along with a lot of people close by to farming practices that they probably might not always like a lot because of noise and odors and whatever.
Yeah. Was there some discussion about the number of units that they're going to place on in section 1? Didn't they increase the number of units that they were going to place here?
They were awarded with a 15% density increase because they are providing a public trail.
Oh, okay. Well, that really makes a difference.
It's in our town code. They're allowed to ask for that. It's kind of a give and take. We'll give you more allowances for building homes, but you have to give the town and the community something. So the 72 acres of open, quote unquote, open space with the trail is with a public access trail and a parking lot.
Now, to be honest, believe me, I'm not happy that this is happening just like down the road and traffic and everything else that you have mentioned, Tim. But if they are gonna bring 70 houses, I want them as packed as possible,
Right.
so that we don't lose any more land. It's not pretty. It's gonna be more traffic, but I'd rather have 70 houses in this parcel than 50 houses here and 30 across the road in the field that Bob already started losing because they added one more house. So
Yep.
I'm not completely against the density. I'm not happy that it's happening right here, but I'd rather be dense than just keep expanding and expanding.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the traffic issue, you're gonna get that probably no matter what, because the houses will be built somewhere.
Yeah.
So might better just keep it all smushed together in one spot.
It's 92 units in 25,
Oh, no.
25 2-unit buildings and 14 3-unit buildings
Total.
total when it's finished.
Yeah.
Section 1 is, they didn't break it out in the letter. But it's just these.
I recall that we had a meeting with Doug about code and the town code and how we might be able to go ahead and change the code to make this more favorable to farming. We've also discussed redrawing the area of our focus now that everything north of the town of Canandaigua has been protected. Now here we are with this creep. I don't mean creep personally. I mean the creeping in of development.
Right.
And so those are things that we can certainly have the town address. As we go further, I think that we as the Ag Committee would prefer to go ahead, have some assurances, because I have my doubts that it's going to stop here. There should be some type of code regulation in place that's going to at least slow it down, if not stop it. It's going to affect, farming as we know it in this part of the town of Canandaigua, no question.
Right. So after you guys had that conversation with Doug, his draft overlay was his response, which obviously is still not really figured out.
So we're wasting time.
Well, I don't think you're wasting time. You just have to figure out what you want
I
to
don't
propose
mean
to the ordinance
the way that
committee.
you took it, Sarah. I mean that we're wasting time to go ahead and address the code issue to make sure.
Well,
it's
like Bob said, like you said earlier, Bob, unless we can, well, not unless, I mean, it's just harder than we thought, I think, coming up with code that's going to work to actually.
So Tim, before you were on,
intended to do.
Tim, before you were on, I had said that I had been in contact with someone that I know that's in the real estate business that's worked in some areas that have a lot of agriculture, but have also had some development, and they've made it work out fairly well. So I've been in touch with them. They're putting me in contact with people from some of those municipalities to look at what they've done, so we can get a little bit better idea. But
Okay.
I think we need to look at that. And then I know we talked about a joint meeting with the ordinance committee. I think that even before we have a real set idea, it's fine for us to have some set ideas, I guess, but I'd like to hear what people from the ordinance committee or other committees have for ideas also, because they might look at things from a little bit different perspective, and they may think of something that we haven't thought of.
Mhm. Thanks, Bob.
I don't know. It's a pretty difficult topic. There's no easy answer, because anywhere around that's tried to do something, it's never really worked well. So I don't know what the answer is.
It's pretty touchy when you're starting to get with the private property. So,
Yep.
I mean, the simplest answer is buy the land that you want to save.
Well, that's
But
what I was
of
just gonna
course,
say. Start playing the lottery, and then you can buy land. And
because whether you want to protect it for farming or protect it from the trees being cut down or what have you, that's always the easiest way to save land. But of course, it's expensive. I do know there are some programs. I've heard about them in the state and with federals programs or federal and in trying to match up landowners with farmers who need land. And I don't know how much money there is out there for that, or if it's working, but I mean, that's what those programs are intended to do. Help people who would like to buy the land to farm on, to be able to afford to buy it from the people who don't want to farm it anymore, who would like to just sell it.
Mhm. Well, I think the best program is the one that worked out, north of the city in the Paddleford Brook area with the PDR program.
Yeah, we know that's working.
Yeah, that works really well.
but we need people to volunteer to put that application, and they do lose some equity in the process. So it's, again, there has to be willingness of the individual holding the property. And we'll keep encouraging. We're not giving up on that one. We should keep being creative with new programs.
Right.
But for
The
now,
state
all we can
changed-
do is
The state changed
suggest-
the program.
Yeah, that's right. So it's not as lucrative for the farmer any longer.
It's harder to qualify.
Mhm.
But in this case, I will make the motion to say these constitute the loss of valuable agricultural land, and in the process opens the possibility for the loss of other acres as development comes in this direction. And that's as much as we can do for now.
second. All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks, Sarah. I didn't mean any disrespect, for anything that I said.
Oh, no, I didn't take it that way. I mean, I know I'm frustrated along with you guys. I'm just trying to think of, I mean, it takes forever and it's difficult, but I mean, if we want to change code, that's really what we're going to have to do. We're just going to have to keep hashing it out and keep going through it until it actually works. The first iteration started the process. And just because the way it's written doesn't work, doesn't mean we won't be able to figure something out. I mean, like the conversation that you had at your last meeting, I was looking at the notes again today, and talking about how we might be able to incorporate the ideas from a TDR program into that overlay area somehow. You want to make it a win-win for everybody. So,
Sure.
or it won't get passed.
Yeah. Well, I can imagine just on the other side of Parish Street Extension, the views of the lake right down that ridge. And it's not going to stop here on this side. There's no question of that.
Right, because we know that property owner has listed their property for sale multiple times, so.
Yep.
All right, well, I've got the notes. I'll write it up and I'll send it to the planning board.
Okay,
And I will, I'm gonna follow up more on some of this research I'm trying to do on different programs or different ideas other counties and towns have done, and I'll make sure I get all that to everybody before our meeting so we can look it over and discuss it, hopefully maybe next time.
Okay. Thank you, Bob.
Okay.
Anything else? Any other town news, Sarah?
Probably, I'm sorry, I don't have any of my notebooks with me, so I can't browse through recent stuff. But, you know, you probably already did hear, but the board did approve the scenic view shed overlay. What was it maybe one of the last couple of meetings? Which was a similar idea to the ag protection overlay draft that you guys had.
At the ordinance committee meeting that I was at, that was the first time I had ever heard of that. And I honestly haven't looked into it. Can you
Yeah.
explain that a little bit? Because it sounded
Yeah,
like
please.
they were doing some of what we were actually trying to do.
Yeah, so similarly, it's an area, right? So it covers a vast area of the town. And the idea is it only goes into effect for those properties within that area that are visible from Canandaigua Lake. Ridge lines and, properties that sit up high, stuff like that. And the idea is to prevent these huge areas of, trees and stuff just being cut down to put in houses and neighborhoods. Like now there's going to be some restrictions. They can't just cut a bunch of trees down and put their house. They got to be thoughtful about the process. If you buy a hillside, the idea is that you wouldn't put your house at the very top, put it further down.
So that's been approved.
They did approve it. Yeah. I can't remember if it was last month or the month before.
Are you able to get a copy of that sent to us just so we can read through it? It might give us some ideas.
Please.
Yeah. Let me just write that down.
Because that sounds like it does put some restrictions on people's land, and then they were still able to pass it.
Yes. Not necessarily restrictions on what they're doing, but how they do it, I guess. I don't understand it completely, but that's like the quick and dirty version. I will make sure you guys get a copy of that.
Okay,
That'd be great. Thanks.
So,
Okay.
I guess I wanted to bring it up because it's not unprecedented that they pass something that can affect a large area of town. I think it's just, you got to figure out how to balance it out, get it to a point where it's not so automatically restrictive to all the landowners, but gives, people some flexibility. Well, you want to do this? Okay, well, you got to do something in return. And that something in return's got to benefit agriculture.
yeah.
So that's the
we
goal,
really
figure
need
out-
to See that.
What?
I think we really do need to see that.
Yeah, I'll send it. All right. So that was your only referral. Did I? Yeah, I already mentioned that I sent I'll send that memo and your is the ag committee code to the ordinance committee. Their January meeting, I think, is going to be on January 5th, which is a Wednesday. I'll double check, but I can send you guys that date so that if you want to attend, you can.
Okay.
All right. And then I think our next meeting should be the 13th of January.
Yes. Yep.
13th.
Yep.
Yep.
All right. Well,
That's so good.
everybody have a Merry Christmas.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
And a happy new year.
Hopefully we get some snow.
I've got some.
For what?
Well, it's just, it looks pretty.
It does.
It's gonna get muddy next week, I think.
Yeah.
60
Oh, Bob,
degrees.
don't say that. Anyway,
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you,
see
everyone.
you guys.
Yep.
Bye.
Have a
All
good
right,
week.
take care.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Hi, Gary.
Hey, Ray.